Rahim. Welcome to the first international webinar organized by IM Group of Researchers. The IM Group of Researchers is a research platform aims to foster the collaboration among young and passionate researchers, providing a space for sharing ideas and working on groundbreaking research articles. We create an atmosphere where like-minded individuals can come together and change the world through their research. Through international and national conferences, we offer a stage for experts to share their findings, insights, and knowledge, and engage in meaningful conversation with industry leaders. We are happy to share that our organization, IM Group of Researchers, completed 1-year journey. During this time, we arranged 3 international conferences, 3 international webinars, and 1 course, and also participated in social work. Currently, we are working on 19 review articles with 95 authors. You can visit our website, IM Group of Researchers, committed to excellence. The director of IM Group of Researchers is Dr. Adnan, Assistant Professor from University of Sawat, Dr. Fehmi Tajabin, the Executive Director of IM Group of Researchers, Assistant Professor from Bahauddin Sikri University, Multan. And I'm your host, Naqshe Zara, a doctorate scholar from University of Agriculture, Faisalabad. So without delay, let's welcome our webinar with the Holy Verses of Quran. So I would request that Muhammad Idris please join us and recite few verses of Holy Quran.
Okay, I am audible, ma'am.
Yes, Idris, you are audible. Please start.
Okay, yes, okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you so much, Idris, for the wonderful holy verses of Quran. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to announce our remarkable speaker for our webinar. The topic of this webinar is research-based career and methodologies. Please join us in welcoming Dr. Khurram Joya, a renowned researcher and expert in the field of chemistry, to share his invaluable insights on the topic of research-based career and methodologies. With an impressive academic background, including being a PhD research scholar at Leiden University, a researcher at the University of North Texas, and a postdoctoral researcher at esteemed institutions like the Max Planck Institute for Chemical Energy Conversion and Leiden University, Dr. Joya brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. As a postdoctoral fellow and a research associate at KOST, King Abdullah University for Science and Technology, and in Denmark. Additionally, he is working as assistant professor at King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, showcases his commitment to academia and education. We are also proud to mention that Dr. Joya serves as an editorial board member for esteemed Journal of Contemporary Research in Chemistry and is an active member and speaker at KCH chapter of American Chemical Society. We are privileged to have Dr. Khurram Joya join us as a speaker, where he will shed light on the excited world of research-based careers and share valuable insights into methodologies that drive innovation. So Dr. Joya, now it's over to you, sir.
Good evening, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, so the next thing is my screen reaching you with the presentation? Oh, I see myself. I don't see my screen.
Yes, your screen is visible.
That's great. I have to go to, no, Just a minute. I'm actually looking for the screen where. Okay. Okay. Right. So can you see the screen is moving to the next slides? I just want to make sure.
No, sir, it's not moving. It's on
Ah,
single.
and
Yes, it's
now it's
working
moving.
now.
Oh my
Yes, sir.
God! Because when I do the screen slideshow, it's not working, and when it's not slideshow, it's working. So let's see. We can do this way. Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation, and yeah, we start with the research-based career and methodology. Actually, this methodology can be understood in two ways. One way is the methodology which a person on a, let's say, on a personal level, someone needs to take it step by step to reach that goal. And on the other hand, it can be how to promote or how to do the or how to develop a model to do the research. We also take it as a research methodology. So what I did actually, I try to let's say include both of these things. Let's say based on personal attributes, how a person, when he or she has done, let's say, bachelor or close to a bachelor degree, how he or she can develop himself into the platform or pathway where he or she can become a researcher. And then of course research can be linked with the career, which is research based career. So for me, I just want to, I mean, include few things about my or people like me who like or who live in a research, let's say, arena. For me, research is not actually a work or something which someone asked me, or it's like a routine that I go to my office and come back home, and then I wait for the weekend, and then I take a rest, and then I say, okay, at least I'm away from my let's say tiring work, and then the worst thing is the night of the Sunday, because then Monday is coming and you start to go to work again. Actually, for me, research is like a fun, something where you have excitement, something where you find where you go when you start your work, you find fun, and it's out of the limits of the like daily working routine. I mean, you can be researcher 24-hour, or sometime, of course, on and off time came, but in general, it's a 24-hour, let's say, lifestyle like thing. So this is how I take research. And there are, of course, few things, few, let's say, like quotes I call it, related to that how you live in a research based ground. So I mean, research can be easy, research can be difficult, research can test your personality, your mental attitude, your intellect, your knowledge, your skills, your learning, your patience, so many things. And sometime, of course, you are very much quiet in the research when you are not getting results, but of course sometimes you are yelling about or boasting about your results and data and everything when you're close to get some conclusion over a research. But of course, like number 4 point is saying here, the most important thing is how much passionate and curious you are about your work, whatever you are doing it. So if you are passionate and curious, so of course you will find excitement in it. Otherwise, to be very honest, research is so much boring thing. And of course, many people, I mean, when I was doing PhD or postdocs, I saw my colleagues and many people around me who were really don't like what they are doing, but they were just doing it like because they have to do it. But for many people, including myself, it was not like I have to do. It was like I love to do something, or I love to do research. So in general, researcher, like I said before, researcher is a 24-hour thing. It's like a mindset you develop over the time. So it's not like when you are home or you go around with friends or you are in a restaurant or somewhere else, you stop thinking in a researcher way. Of course, then it relays your intellect and your thinking with every aspect of your life around us. Of course, there after some time you get control. It's not like you become crazy. The 24-hour research is going on in your mind, in your heart, in your blood, and everywhere. But of course, over time you learned how to channel it. So then you can control it. That how you control your excitement when you are away from your lab and all those things. So this is like just in a funny way, in a brief way, in a free way, like how I take a researcher or myself into the research stream. So now, what actually research is? So research is actually, in general, research is about you find something, let's say some sort of problem or issue around you. It can be in your home, it can be in your locality, in your city, in your country, in your continent, or in the world. So it's just like you locate somehow a problem, what is which is there, and then you systematic go through to solve the problem by applying whatever knowledge, skills, like I said before, your knowledge, your intellect, your skills, your learning, your attitude as a literal person, how you solve this. So it's like, of course, you have to have the knowledge to learn about or go into the details of the problem, what problem is. And then you explore it, different aspects of the problem, like what is the problem, what is the cause of this problem, are there parameters or which are affecting this or accelerating the problem. And then, of course, based on this, let's say, knowledge and data, you just analyze it. You analyze in a way, because analysis is so important. You need to understand what problem is. The more you understand it, then of course it becomes relatively easy to find the solution. And then, of course, based on this analysis, you propose a set of solution, or sometimes, of course, single solution, sometimes set of solution. And then you define a timeline for let's say you give it 1 year, 2 year, 5 year. Of course, some problems are you have to address them on war basis, like we call it. So you have to address them very quickly. So, and then, of course, whatever experiments you do to solve that problem, you as a result of experiment, you draw a data, and then, of course, based on the data, you drive a conclusion. And so this is like, in a nutshell, all process of research, what research is. But of course, in very short, research is all about finding a solution to a problem. You look at a problem and you find a solution. Like I said before, research can be local, research can be worldwide. Of course, the local research can be done or can be promoted by local agencies. That's like government. It can be government. It can be some research institution or university, or even personal people on personal basis, like business. They do these things. Or research can be, but like it's let's say it's governed by uh, organization of the world. Like we have United Nation, then we have this NASA, and so many other worldwide institutions we have, which then globally introduce a problem, and then, of course, they invite these scientists to propose a solution. Then it's like a different set of solution. They distribute it all over the world to different places, different government, different universities, different institutions, and then, of course, each has, let's say, a certain target to deliver in certain time. So this is like how research is conducted on local level, let's say, and also on the worldwide. Okay, so now again back to the research career. So, like I said before, for me and many people like me, research is very actually exciting thing. Only thing, you have to find a connection with the research. Once you find a connection, of course, then it's like, you are dancing with the music. It's really very beautiful, and you enjoy your life while being a researcher. Of course, then ultimately research is actually a little bit slow process in terms of career building, because the fruits you get out of the research career is not like very soon. Normally, you have to finish your graduation degree, then master's degree, then PhD, then at least one or two postdoc to become little bit, let's say, more professional and more expert. And then you start having an independent career, we call it. And then normally this happens when you are around 35 years. So in a way, you have to sacrifice your 34, 35 years when you are building a research-based career, compared to, let's say, those friends who start their career, any career or even business, after their bachelor, normally at 25 year or something around it. So let's say you are 7 to 10 year late in terms of getting fruits compared to your friends. But this is what, like, that's why I said in the beginning, it's all about how much you are crazy, how much you like it, how much you are excited about doing research. Okay, so other thing is, of course, about your personal, how what your personality is, what are your personal attributes. I mean, how strong person you are, how much patience you have. Of course, it's also about your learning and knowledge skills. That do you acquire the let's say prerequisite knowledge also to pursue a research or not? Of course, if you don't have it, you are a, let's say, you are early stage career, early stage researcher. You have to then spend some time in acquiring that knowledge, which is really required to conduct the research. Then, of course, in terms of application, research is so much important. I mean, many let's say, field in the world are really governed by research. Like science, of course, one of the most dominating field of technology is science. Then, of course, research is also being conducted in arts, in literature, in religion, and of course, so many other things. Okay, so next is about how you define a research problem. Normally, what I have seen around me also in many places, including Pakistan, Normally, young stage, students do the research which is ascribed to them by their professors. And normally, professor ascribe, let's say, describe or define the research to the students based on their own expertise and experience in certain field. So this is, of course, one of the most common way for undergrad. Undergrad means a person who is near to PhD to conduct your research or to take on your research. But of course, if you like to read and like to know more about what's going on in the research on the global level, of course, the best thing is you just go around in the literature and start spending some time, roughly daily basis, let's say, to find what are the global, let's say, local or global issues going on around you. So I have just defined few of them, but of course there can be much more than that. So it can be, it's like, it's like on the world level, these are those issues or problems which are highlighted on the worldwide. Of course, they are based both on locally as well as in the entire globe. So it can be related to health. The problem can be related to health. It can be related to environment. It can be related to this safety. Safety mean in general safety, whatever you assume from the safety word. Then it can be related to water, the drinking water, or the land water, river water, all kind of water. Can be related to food and education also. Actually, these are like most one of I mean among the most prominent issues which are raised by global community on global level as well as on local level, because in many countries which are not like the country, those countries who are not very rich, or we call it third world countries, also African countries also, some of them, so they lack some facilities in these, and then of course they have certain issues also related to them. Then of course the global community come up front, and then they try to help them by resolving those issues step by step on a certain way. Then on a scientific way, we can also take it like we have a big issue, which is global warming. Then we have hunger issue in many parts of the world, especially African countries. We have a problem in many rich countries, which is food wastage also. Then we have problem with many countries where land is like more like a flat land. They have floods. I mean, especially those regions where they have torrents, rains, and let's say close to sea or coastal area, because then if there is a storm in the sea, there's a more I mean, it's more likely that the water can seep into the cities. Then of course energy is one of the also very big issue which world is facing now, at least for 1 decade. Then clean technology based on clean energy, clean food, clean environment, and all those things. Then of course, like I said before, there are more than this, but I just name or try to highlight the more that list among the most prominent issues which we have now on this planet. Okay, now next is how you, it's like, how you perceive what being a researcher on my level, let's say, where I say like that, at least I have started my independent journey. And also a mid career person where you are already in the research but you want to build on it. So uh, and I think this can be also related to the person who are, let's say, at bachelor level, and they are not sure whether they want to take a research as a career or as a, and then they switch on to some, let's say, not like really research career, but research, I mean, any career where direct research is not involved. So, like I said before, research can be done at many levels. I mean, you can be a researcher at your when you are doing your
Yes.
masters, let's say undergrad level. You can. Sorry, yeah. Okay. Everything is okay with the presentation so far.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Actually, it was like a mid pause. Okay. I have like 6 7 slides more. Okay, so yeah, so as a, let's say, as a young student, I would call it. So you can also get inspired by someone who is established in research-based career, and then you can of course take on this journey. And then another excitement of the research is, of course, the technology and the scientific world in which we are living now. Of course, most of the part, or maybe all part of it, is coming through the technological advancement we have, especially in last 50 years. And now, especially in last 10 or 15 years, with the advent of this modern technology, IT, internet, and especially these days, the AI, which is artificial intelligence, we see everything is going on, which is based on research. Many new careers are coming, new fields are being explored almost on daily basis, you see. and many of them are in fact based on research. Even business models, new business models are coming now. They're also based on so much research is being done, and include the human intellect as well as the computer intellect to combine it to make new models. Of course, there are, let's say, pros and cons. But good things are also there, and not very good things are also there. But this is how you have to see. You have to prepare yourself at every stage of your career to meet the challenges. You have to evolve yourself slowly. It's not like what, let's say, if I talk about myself, whatever career or whatever research, let's say, research status I have today, it's not like after 5, 10 years I will have it the same, because now things are being explored or developed so quickly. So it's not like the world is evolving. A person has also to be evolved with the evolution of this research, science, technology, and everything. So this is what, again, it's so important. That's why I'm saying this again and again and again, that you have to, on personal level, a person who want to take on this career, you have to keep exciting yourself. You have to keep motivating yourself, because sometimes dark days are also there. So which really can kill people, kill in a sense that you kill your career, you kill your patients, and then you quit the research and doing something else. So in many cases, what happens, the fruits of the research are not like easy to come by. So sometimes you have to really do hard work. You have to let's say, kill your many nights. You have to read and think and all those things, ponder about, and then sometimes you get the fruits very. This is, again, you have to be crazy. You have to be excited person uh, to build yourself as a researcher. Okay, now I have a list. Actually, again, this is not like all the lists we have in the world, but it's like most prominent, let's say, field based on a person who is a researcher now, independent researcher now. They can take this research. It was when even I was doing PhD or postdoc, I was perceiving like research is only that you become go to the university and become a professor, and that's all, where you teach and also you do side by side research. That research can be associated with the university or institution, or can be, let's say, with the industry. But then of course later you explore that it's not only that research is linking yourself with the universities or institution or research center, but of course it's much beyond that. There are so many arenas or venues are there where you can take your career based on your research. And it's also not like at what stage of research you are. You can be an early stage researcher, a mid-career researcher, or a mature researcher also. So you can link yourself with all these stages. So let's say a person who has done this PhD, and he or she wants to now stop, let's say, real research like working 24 hours in the lab, and then he or she can want to pursue a career. Of course, then it's not like you can only become a faculty person, but there are so many other things. Same way, if you are a mid-stage career where you have PhD and 1 or 2 postdoc, you can still, it's not only that you end up at a university. You can do so many other things. And same with the post career. Like, let's say, when I will become 50 and I don't want to teach anymore, let's say in a university, there are so many other things I can do, again based on research and all those things. So in general, of course, a person based on a researcher, either early career, mid career, or post career, or mature career, let's say, the most exciting or, let's say, respectable field is to become a professor in a university, where you teach also, you can share your experience and intellect, learning and everything with the students. Then, of course, on the side by side, you also do the research. You can be an innovator. The innovator is again based on, you can be part of an innovation institution or even a university, a research center, let's say some strategic department which are not run by the government, or you can be innovator at international level, solving some problem, which I showed you in previous slide, that on a global, I mean, you can relate your innovation to solve a issue which is globally important, like health, like energy, environment, and all those things. Okay, so another option for a researcher is you can be a scientific trainer, scientific coach, or even scientific speaker. Of course, it's also a well-paid job you can do, let's say, while making a company or joining with a company, or even you can do a freelancing livelihood. I mean, these days it's so easy. So you can make your own small scientific community based on you or led by you. Then you have few people with you working with you, and then of course it's like you set a scientific you set a career based on scientifically helping the people on their problem, training them, teaching them, learning, and all those things. You can do it online also. You can do physical also. There are so many options out there. Then, besides being a faculty or a professor in a university, many universities, especially like in West, they have these positions. that they have research center within the universities, like in Max Planck. Max Planck is actually not a university; it's a research center which is linked with the university. So all those universities which are linked with the Max Planck, most of their students do research in the Max Plancks. So like this, you can also be researcher in an institution. And Max Planck actually, or institution like Max Planck, they have their independent positions. So let's say if you become, after doing your research, you become a scientific researcher at Max Planck, then you have your own independent career, which is not related to the university directly, but still you are linked with it. Why? Because most of the students are coming to you via or through the university. Then another option is if those people who have their research related to, let's say, some are related to medical field, they can be medical research scientists. Medical research scientists, of course, we have hospitals almost everywhere in the, even in the buses or in the train or in the aeroplane, we have like small facility to help to medically assist the people. So they are required actually everywhere. So you can be a researcher based on medical science, and then you can involve yourself rather than doing directly a medical practice. You can also involve in the medical research, like so much genetics research going on, which is based on medical scientists also. Plus, the artificial limbs we have it, then artificial organs we have it, and of course so many other models are there. Recently we have this COVID also. So most of the researcher which were medical based, they actually involved in developing the vaccine for the COVID-19. Then another option is biological science. In life science or biological science, so much researchers can also be there directly as a researcher, not as a faculty. So you can also involve yourself in biological science researches. Then, of course, one of the very prominent and biggest field in the world is agriculture science or agriculture. Then, of course, so many topics or problems are there in the agriculture, and researchers are there, always there, even in many countries. So who take those challenges, take the problem, and then they try to solve those problems. Then of course we have researchers also in mathematics also. So in mathematics, actually it's more like theoretical modeling, theoretical based on theoretician, let's say. So they formulate the device equations and then they solve the problem, uh, especially in applied mathematics. Then we have researcher in physical sciences, where I also belong to some extent. And then we have research in psychology. In psychology, we have research also. So then we have research in programming, also in computer programming, especially. Then we have a researcher or experts in instrumental training, like those people who have their, let's say, specific background or expertise in certain instrument which is required in certain research. It can be any instrument, not like chemical science or physics. It can be any instrument, even in biological science, or like MRI we use in the hospitals, or other instrument also. So those people who are expert in those instruments, they of course can also have a very good and exciting career. Like I know many people who have done their degree in radiology and then of course master and PhD. They are actually not only like radiologists in certain institutions or in hospitals, but they are carrying on their research based on the data and the research of data and the analysis, whatever they get on daily basis by dealing with several or different patients. Then next we have, of course, research or researcher related to environment, health, safety, all those things. Actually, I have already done this topic in my first or second slide. Then another, let's say, field of for the researcher. Actually, it is for the again for the little bit early stage research is the patent attorney. When I was in Europe and when we filed the patent, also then I met few patent attorney who were like having a degree in certain field, and then they have this how to say like legal knowledge, legal degree also. Then they combine it to become a patent attorney in certain field. So they are actually very highly paid. I mean, it's a very highly paid job also. Uh, in like in the Middle East area where we belong, also Middle East and let's say Southeast Asia, you will not see so many patent attorney because this innovation and technology from the west now moving toward the east now. So now you will see in many countries they are, especially in the institution, they have this now opening of these new jobs which is based on this patent and intellectual property attorney and all those things. Then another exciting job can be a scientific advisor. It can be on a junior scale, let's say slightly younger scale, or a senior scale also. And you can be scientific advisor for the governments, for the department, for the military, even for the strategic problem also. And even you can be scientific advisors for bigger things, like you can be scientific advisor for one of those 17 or 18 SDG which are set by the United Nations. You can be scientific advisor for the World Bank, International Monetary Fund. You can be certificate advisor for global warming, for NASA program for the air for the astronomy, and so many other things are there. So this is actually very exciting also. Another one is the forensic science. So if those people who have done their in the forensic science is also a very highly paid job. Again, in forensic sciences, you can enter as a early stage career person, or a mid career, or even as a mature person where you have PhD, postdocs, and some experience also. Medical lab manager, you can become, again, mostly medical lab manager people become when they have master's degree in certain medical lab technology. But of course, if you, like I said before, for the instrumental expert, if you want to, I mean, some people are like still like doing or conducting research. Plus, of course, when you have PhD, your salary gets some extra benefit in that. So you can still, I mean, carry on your research while doing the medical lab manager job. Then, of course, genetic based research, I mean, so in let's say, one of the biggest budget of the research globally is going to the genetics based research. So many programs are there. People who are interested, they can of course Google it. So many programs are there. One of the very few, let's say, new program I know, I will tell you, few year back, I think 2 or 3 year backs, chemistry Nobel Prize was given to the professors who were doing research in editing of genes. So actually, this is like a mixed concept, a mixed, let's say, research project between medical genetics, biologists, and chemical scientists. But of course, biochemistry people can also go into these research. This also, again, the genetic researcher get highly paid salaries in whatever institutes they go. Then, of course, those people who have their degree in environmental sciences or related, they can go to soil sciences based research career. They can even go to water also, the water quality and management and environmental, all those things. Then it's historian is not like a pure scientific field, but of course, if once a person has developed himself as a researcher, then of course it's not like research is only limited to scientific field. You can really widen yourself to go to any field. Let's say if you are a history person or literature person, or or a religion, I mean, you have knowledge of religion or different religions, something like that, you can become an even expert, or you can develop your career based on those in those fields. So this is like in a nutshell. Again, like I said before, there are much more exciting profession for a researcher, but it's just to highlight few of them. Okay, now next thing which is very important is how a person, as let's say those people who are listening to me and who are like at your younger stage, like bachelor or master maximum, how they can build themselves. Of course, first thing is, I said many times before, is you have to excite yourself, you have to ignite yourself, and you have to decide by yourself about yourself that you want to be a researcher, and you not only want to be a researcher, but you want to have a career also based on research. Then you have to design everything. So let's say if you are doing undergrad and you are in your third year, fourth year, of course you have to then, by close to third year, fourth year, you should be deciding that you want to become a researcher, and not only researcher, but you want to have a career also based on research. So what, because then once you decide, let's say at fourth or third year of your bachelor, then you already can foresee what is coming next to you. So it's not like after bachelor you just sit and hang around and having a fun and wasting your time. Of course, you already, then you have to build your career slowly. First, you have to build your degrees, which is at least PhD you need, and then of course the branch will sprout out to show you more venues which are there. So masters, which normally required 1.5 to 2 years, you have to do it. And because you have already decided that you want to become a researcher, so of course PhD is a prerequisite. I mean, you cannot do it without having a PhD. So you must go for a PhD. So it's always good to go to the top 100, or at least minimum top 200. This is what I advise to people wherever I go or wherever I travel in the world. That try to get your PhD. Master's undergrad is okay. You can do from the country wherever you are. But PhD, I still insist again and again and again. It's always good to have your PhD from minimum top 200 universities in the world. Don't relax yourself. Don't compromise on this. Of course, if you want to get admission or a PhD position in a top 200 universities, you have to really raise your level to that standard where a professor can accept you, or university can accept you. You have to do in many cases IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, maybe other related exams also. You have to be, especially if you are not native speaker of English, like in Asian country. So you have to have a good, at least minimum good level of English speaking and understanding it, and also English reporting, I mean writing, because you have done your masters, you have done your undergrad, so it means you have done several projects also. So you should have a good writing skills also. So, so again, I will repeat it one more time again, that try to get your PhD from top 100 universities in the world. It doesn't matter where they are. You can go to Middle East, you can stay in Asia, you can go to Europe, you can go to Africa, you can go to Australia, you can go to Canada, doesn't matter. But try to focus on top 200. When I was about to start my PhD, actually I put a little bit strict standard for myself, and it was top 100, not even top 200. But I still say now top 200 is still okay, because normally top 200 universities and whatever will come later on after a PhD, like you are going to do one postdoc, early stage career, or a faculty, or anything related to it. It's really dependent, because they really see for it from where you have conducted or done your PhD. If you have done your PhD from, let's say, West, or even from the East, it doesn't matter, but at least from top 100 200 universities, really you get a lot of benefit and weightage for postdoc, and also if you want to do a job later on. And after number five point is very important, because let's say, because normally what I have seen it mostly lower middle class or middle class people focus or try to build their earning based on higher education or research. Normally people who are rich, they don't care a lot about it, but of course instances are there, but normally this is what my observation is. So many people who belong to a poor family background, they want to do, let's say, pursue their career based on research, but they are limited with the fee structure. I mean, they are, let's say, confined, because fee structure is very high in many universities or places. The best places, especially when you are doing undergrad or master, because PhD, most you get the funded PhD from wherever you are doing, especially if you're doing from top 200 universities in the world. So the fee is something where you have to really think in advance. Let's say if you are in the third year or fourth year of bachelor, you have to really think now that after 2 years, if you are 1 or 2 years, if you are going to start your masters, and its cost is around, let's say, five to ten thousand, $5,000, let's say. I don't know exactly, but it depends. In Asia, it's a little bit cheaper, and where it's expensive. In Europe, it's even more expensive. So let's say if it can be from 5,000 to $15,000. So you have to really make sure that how you're going to manage your fee structure. You can take loans, or partially scholarship, or 90, 80, 70% scholarship is also given by many universities to the bachelor and master student. So you have to see it, because if there's a big cost of PhD, which is number one and number three, then of course it will be difficult for you to carry on your research based building, because it's step by step journey. Then, of course, like I said, PhD is relatively easy if you have already established very early career of young researcher based on your master's degree program and research, of course, and you have good writing skill, presentation skills also. Plus, if you have one or two, not like very good paper, but presentable paper, I mean, it's not that difficult to get a PhD position. And then, of course, based on your PhD, if you are good, you work hard, you were innovative, you were curious, you were having good data and good results, good publication, it's not so difficult to get a postdoc position in top 100 institute, I would say, in the world. So I think time is running out. Let me cut short a little bit. So I will just, I mean, this is something like what I have already said before. One more thing, which I will add in the previous one, it's number 6, which is you can also relate or link your research with the running industry. Like sometimes industries have problem, so you can go and discuss with them. You already have, I mean, you discuss and try to see what problem they have. Then you come home, you do your homework, take few months, solution and all those things, and then you discuss with them and propose a solution, whatever you have in your mind. Many cases industry says give green signal to you, they give you funding, and then you can do your, let's say, if you are in a country where not so much funding is available for the universities, so you can get a project from the industry can give you funds to conduct your research, partially in the university and partially in the industry. Then, of course, on a little bit like a mature career, that when you are in the research, it can be mid PhD, even in some cases pre PhD, but mostly it's a post PhD, where you need to continue your research, you need funding, and you can even at many places in the world you can apply for your independent funding. So in this type of independent funding, you are no more dependent on a professor that he will give you fund and you keep on doing your research and all those things. So I will just skip the details of this. Okay, now another very important thing is I mean, how you are planning your career. And I have seen many people, especially in the Asian country, they give up very quickly. So let's say if they are in their master's degree program and they have not done very good in the master, they just want to quit and then do something else. It's like it's a really test of your patience and your determination also. Sometimes you have to still stick to it. Failures come, but doesn't matter that you just turn around from the failure. You have to face it, and then you have to, even in my life, in my career, so many examples are there where I face many challenges and many difficulties. But it's not like I just ran away from them. I face them. I learn what they are. I go into deep, and then of course I find a solution. And then this is how you can keep on developing and all those things. Then one more thing is very important for young people is this SWOT analysis. If I think it's SWOT analysis is important for all people, 20-year, 30-year, 40-year, 50-year, 60-year. At every 5 year or a decade, you have to do your SWOT analysis of your career. So again, I will not go into the detail. It's about comparing whatever you are doing. I mean, what strength is there, what our career you are pursuing, what are weaknesses there. So strength, you can focus on building your muscles. So just like this, weaknesses, you have to see where you are weak, in which thing you weak, and then you start focusing it to strengthen it also. Then of course you can turn your weakness also into the strength. And normally where you have more strength, that is like something which can create opportunities for you. But of course, if your weakness, or especially big weakness, which can become limiting, they are staying there, they can threaten your career also. So you have to be really very careful, very honest, very critical about yourself doing this SWOT analysis. I think it's good to do SWOT analysis at least twice a year when you are in early or mid career, in the mid of your career, based on research. So that's all about what I wanted to say. Actually, I have few more things, but I think it's okay. Maybe we can have a next session sometime somewhere, and then we can go through that. So thank you very much for listening, and I still have like 4 or 5 minutes available for me. If there's a question, we can take it.
We would like to extend our sincere gratitude to Dr. Khurram Joya for delivering an enlightening and captivating talk on research-based career and methodologies. If anyone have a question, please raise your hand. Then we are able to allow you to ask the question one by one. If anyone have a question, then please raise your hand. Then we are able to allow you to ask the question. Yes, Muhammad Shakil Khan, you can continue with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum, and have a good morning or afternoon to Sir Khurram Joya. My name is Muhammad Shakil Khan, and I am a student of MPhil in first semester in Qaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad. So I have a question that in MPhil, how many papers we have published for to apply for the PhD scholarship?
If you have listened to my whatever I was saying for last 20, 30, 35 minutes, it's not about the publication. You can have 10 publications, but when it comes to the interview, I have seen people failed to present themselves in a good way. So it's not only the publication which is going to define you as a good candidate for a PhD position. It's about an overall personality of a researcher. Whether, I mean, of course, as a master, you cannot be like an expert or something like that. But still, some feeling should come from yourself while talking, because normally they take an interview with you online on a video call. So they should have an impression that you can you can be deliverable, or you can deliver what they are having in their mind. So even one or two good paper where, I mean, where you are like for at least first author in one paper, and one or two good paper in which you are even second, third, fourth, it doesn't matter. Even one good paper, plus you can present yourself in a good way, and you have, like I said, good spoken English and good way of communication. It's more than enough, to be very honest. So you don't need to worry about having 10, 20 papers, and then in the end you get nothing, and then you say, oh, Khurram Joya was saying this and this and this, and he was lying to us, because it's not like this. So you can get a PhD position even with one paper, and sometime in some cases you cannot get it even with 10 papers. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Yes, Nosheen, you can continue with your question, please.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर सर माय क्वेश्चन इज के रिसर्च पेपर को आपने एक स्लाइड में बताया कि प्रेजेंटेबल बनाएं मींस के क्वांटिटी से ज़्यादा उसकी क्वालिटी पे फोकस करें तो ये आप प्लीज़ बता देंगे कि उसकी क्वालिटी को कैसे बेटर किया जा सकता है
It's not about quality or quantity. I said about you have to able to present it. So you should acquire, I mean, you should have knowledge. So whatever is written in research paper, you should know it. You should know each and every word, every term, every definition, every bit of it. Even the language, even the grammar you use, you should know it, why I have used this. I mean, they can ask you anything. So it's not like during the interview, you would be looking around and asking some friend to help you. So you should own it, whatever you have written in the research paper. It's more about knowledge. You should have a sound knowledge when you are presenting your research paper or discussing about research.
ओके सर और सर नोवेलिटी की अगर बात करें तो नोवेलिटी हम किस बेस पे कर सकते हैं मतलब माइन्यूट नोवेलिटी भी हो तो वो भी एक्सेप्टेबल होती है लाइक सॉल्वेंट चेंज कर दिया या कोई टेक्निक चेंज कर दी
Yeah, again, the novelty is dependent on at what stage you are. So let's say if you're a bachelor researcher, of course you can focus on small things. But if you are a master student, and especially in these days where we have technology and internet and knowledge and IT and everything, you cannot compare it with the time when I was doing my PhD 10, 12 years ago. So now you have to be more advanced student compared to a student who was 10 years ago and starting his PhD. So that's why, I say to many students, don't just follow your professors who have done their PhD 20, 30 years ago. Of course, you listen to them, but you also listen to what's going on these days. So you have to develop a little bit more skills now these days. Got it? So it's not about having small innovation. You should have, let's say, scientific innovation in your project. It's not like changing solvent or having a derivatives or small things. You have to be a little bit bigger than that. And how you get it? By reading more and more literature. What I have seen, especially in Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, what I especially have observed is students at when they are going to start with PhD, they don't have very good, bad, let's say, sporting knowledge with them. So you should have it. How you can get it? By reviewing the literature. You just need to read or understand 20, 30, 40 papers. You don't need to go through 500 papers, just 20, 30, 40 papers. So let's say if you have a capacity or ability to read a paper in 1 week, so in 1 month, you can easily read and understand and comprehend, even digest and assimilate 4 or 5 papers easily in 1 month. So in 6 months, you can do it for 20, 30, 40 papers, which is not so difficult. And of course, you have to give an effort, you have to be patient, and you have to give your energy, focus, determination, everything should be there. So it's all about doing effort and while keeping your determination, and of course, hope also. Hope in a belief way that you will get it. Yeah. Next one.
ओके
Now
सर थैंक यू
Faisal.
So there was a question in the chat box about. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, Faisal, now continue with your question, please.
Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Sir, my question is about age restriction. To gain any PhD scholarship, one should must remember that about the stage restriction. For example, sir, when I applied for the university in Abu Dhabi or Saudi, they every time just mention less than 35. So, sir, is it important to have age restriction to apply for any PhD position or PhD scholarship? Because I am
Actually,
now 38, so I'm very worried.
why it took so long to decide about that you want to do a PhD? Huh?
Sir, I have just done my MS in 2021. Because of gap, I got married. I have 3 kids, some problem in family. That's why but I'm curious about my studies. So I just started my career in recent years. So I am now
Yeah,
38.
normally it is normally PhD age in many parts of the world is normally is 35. In few cases, they can extend it to 40, especially for the women. Of course, for the men also, but the women, if they are married, they have children, and they have some, let's say, work or something like that. So you can still be eligible. You have to write a letter to the head of that institution, rector or something like that, and negotiate your term with them. Plus, of course, the most important is your CV should be sound. Like I said, your credential should be very strong. You should have at least IELTS or TOEFL, whatever it is. Even if it's not required, it doesn't matter. Do it. Why? Because IELTS or TOEFL, these are international testing agencies. And whatever, I mean, if you get 7 or 8 IELTS score, it's not like your English is good. It's about you have appeared in an international competition and you competed with the flying colors, let's say. So I
Yes,
still
sir.
suggest is do this. Plus, in Middle East, many universities required a GRE. Go to GRE and then write a letter to the head. You can negotiate. This is what I know. You can explain your situation, family, children, whatever it is. They can extend it. But plus, of course, most important thing is when you discuss with them either written or in oral way, they should feel that you are excited. It's not like you are sad or you are fighting with them. You have to induce
Yes,
them.
sir.
You have to convince them with your solid and logic points, right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Muhammad, now it's your turn. Please continue with your question.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Ikra from the University of ICCBS.
Which university?
ICCBS, uh,
Okay.
International Institute of Center of Chemical and Biological Sciences from Karachi.
Yeah, I know. I was there one time. I remember.
Sir, I have a question that which factors must have in a research paper that improves the quality of the paper and eligible for a good impact factor journal. So, what are the key points for a good paper or a high quality paper?
It's a question which millions times I have been asked and I answered also. For a high quality research paper, if you want to produce, you have to look at the journals and read the research papers which are published there. That's all. It's so simple. So let's say you want to publish in Nature of Science, just go through 10-20 papers which are published related to your topic in Nature of Science. If you want to go to JAX or Advante Chemi or some other good research paper, research journals, it's so easy. Just go through 10, 20 good papers in these journals, try to grab them, try to know what is theme, what is the soul behind, and then try to translate or formulate into your work. If you can do this, then you can be there. If you cannot do this, then forget about it. It's so as simple as that. Got it?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Now I request Muhammad, please continue with your question, please. Muhammad 1407.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Okay, sir. My question is about foreign scholarship application. Sir, let's suppose a person completed his bachelor degree in 5 years of duration rather than a normal of 4 years. So, how this will affect his foreign scholarship application?
No effect at all. They only look at your CGPA. It should be, I mean, 3.1 is like a minimum requirement. But normally they consider those applicants where they have CGPA like 3.9, 3.8, 3.7. If let's say you or someone has a little bit less CGPA, 3.2, 3.3, then you should have a good research proposal, research idea, and things like that. Then it can be covered. Plus, like I was saying before, IELTS, TOEFL, or GRE. At least IELTS do one thing, either IELTS or TOEFL. Either it doesn't matter if it's required or not. Just do it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, if anyone have a question, please raise your hand. Yes, Mahmoud Ali. You can continue with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, all participants for this webinar. I am Somali, a student in Somalia. I have only one question for to join this webinar. I have one question about research. Research is a two type, quantitative and qualitative. And for my thesis book, if I select a topic, how can I know this topic is a quantitative or qualitative? Thank you.
So what I understand from your question is that if you are going to take a research, whether it should be quantitative, or whether, I mean, how to know it is quantitative or qualitative.
Yeah, the topic I choose, how can I know this topic is qualitative or quantitative to
You
process
have
the
to
web?
give an example because without example it will be not easy to really define it. So you have to give an example that this is what the research problem or research title is, and then you have to you are not understanding whether it's quantitative or qualitative. Without, because like in the air, I cannot decide it whether your research is quantitative or qualitative. So you can write to me, you can write a message to the organizer, they can transfer it to me, I can reply you later on, no problem, because I have to leave now, so I can take just one maybe last question or one or two more questions and then I will leave. Next, please.
Next, last two questions, please. If anyone have a question, you can ask.
Sir, can I ask another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, actually, we don't have a project in our last year. So what should we do instead of project so that it
Last
cover
year of master,
like
bachelor.
bachelors?
Oh, last year bachelor is okay. Bachelor is not so much important, but when you do masters, must have a project. Bachelor is okay,
Okay,
no
sir.
problem.
Thank. Okay.
Okay, thank you
Next,
so much.
next is there.
Yes, okay, sir. It's done.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Goodbye from my side.
Today,
Allah Hafiz.
okay, Allah Hafiz. Today, we had a privilege of hosting an international webinar on research-based career methodology with the esteemed Dr. Khurram Joya.